Simply put, loneliness is when you are not all right with yourself. Who is the subject of loneliness? The false I, the ego. Loneliness comes to the ego and only to the ego. Only the ego remains lonely. And we know the story thereafter, the entire sequence of repercussions. You are lonely, so you go and tie a knot with someone who is as lonely as you are. And then there are mutual expectations, which obviously cannot be fulfilled because neither of you are capable of fulfilling them. When you could not give nice company to yourself, how would you give nice company to the other? When you could not tolerate being with yourself, how is the other going to tolerate being with you? The fellow who strikes a relationship because he is feeling lonely will definitely end up frustrated. If loneliness is not healed by one relationship, then the ego ventures out in search of another object to grab and clutch and stick to. Oh, this one could not give me what I wanted. Let me try elsewhere. That's what the ego usually does. So life just remains a series of frustrations. Loneliness, when confronted, shows up as false. All that about you which cried to seek a companion, a partner, something to fill yourself up with is shown up as an influence upon the mind, is shown up as not your reality. You see that you really have been conditioned to ask for company. You see that you really have been conditioned to treat a few things as indispensable. Those things are not indispensable. That which you take as really non-negotiable in your life might really be of no use. It's just that physical and social influence has indoctrinated you into believing in something totally false. Only the false, the incomplete, the hollow wants to gather and accumulate and add and combine. So loneliness, honestly looking at itself, turns into something that can smile at itself, not really frown, not really look at oneself in disgust. Now this refined ego is no more scared of looking at the mirror. When it is no more scared of looking at the mirror, then it is all right with itself. When it is all right with itself, then it revels being with itself. That is called aloneness. Aloneness is the state of the ego in which it does not despise itself anymore. Aloneness is the state of being in which you don't hate yourself so much anymore. Aloneness is your state in which you can actually, even admire yourself. But nevertheless, loneliness and aloneness are not so much about the other. They are about the relationship you have with yourself. If you have been living a life that your best self, that your internal honesty cannot approve of, then you will be very lonely. Your relationship with yourself would be fraught with contempt and disgust. It's not a nice situation to be in, right? In which you are contemptuous towards yourself. You know what you have been doing. You know that better than anybody else. You know the kind of life you have been living. You know that you cannot respect yourself. That is loneliness. When you cannot like yourself, then obviously you have to turn to somebody else. That is loneliness. But when you are living a life that is rich, full, honest, then you are all right with yourself. Now, it is not so that you will not have a relationship with the other. It is just that now you will not have a dependent or parasitic relationship with the other. The lonely man is a burden on the other. At the same time, he is prepared to take the burden of another lonely person upon himself. That's how most relationships are. I am lonely, you are lonely, I'll take your load, you bear my load. As if that reduces your load. But please concentrate on the aspect of one's relationship with oneself. Nobody can help you in the entire world if first of all you don't like or respect or love yourself. What is the point in admiring a great personality if first of all you cannot admire yourself? And most people become admirers or fans because firstly they don't admire themselves. That's loneliness. The one relationship that is of maximum importance is the one you have with yourself. The ego is ugly. It dresses up as pretty, but it knows that it is ugly, therefore does not like itself, and therefore it keeps hopping around looking for one partner, one object, one thing after the other. In aloneness, you are paying the price for living life rightly. So there is a certain uprightness in life. I know pride is not a spiritual word, but you can even call that as a justified pride. One must have that certain pride about himself. One must know that one is not a cheat and a coward in the inner sense. And then one is very comfortable in his own skin, in his own company. One does not remain a social beggar. Can you come over the weekend? Can you just chat a little with me? You know of all these things, right? Oh, my house is so lonely. Can you come and brighten it up a little? My darknesses cave for your glittering company. Be all right with yourself. Only then will you be able to have healthy and beautiful relationships with others. Aloneness is not the absence of relationship. Aloneness is the presence of health in relationship. I'll just reiterate. First of all, loneliness and aloneness are not about your relationship with others, but about your relationship with yourself. Once I had said, be your own fan. Dig up that quote.